So our next speaker is going to be Lori Palmeri. She's been Oshkosh's mayor since 2009 and is in fact the Oshkosh's first female mayor. Previous to that, she was a common council member. Mayor Palmeri was part of a poetry group when she lived in the Appleton area, and she's going to talk briefly on what prompted her to pursue the creation of a city poet laureate position. So take it away, Lori.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming and attending here. This is so exciting for me to welcome Tom as our inaugural Poet Laureate. And I guess a number of people have asked me what inspired me to start this program. And you must have been reading my mind, Dasha, because I have in my notes to talk about how I was a little bit lost in the early 2000s and then found by the grace of an eclectic poetry group in the Fox Valley. And that was with Ellen Court and another friend, Ia Boltz, in 2005. We would read and write poetry all throughout the valley, writing about local art, reading poetry in coffee shops and in the street. We would share tears over disasters and laughs over goofy phrases of found poetry. So, really where I got moved was in 2020. We were wounded as a community and a country during the great pause that was 2020. And looking for positive healing inspiration, that's when I looked to my old friend poetry, both classic and contemporary. And then in January 2021, poetry found me again through Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. Parentheses, if only we dare it. Some of the phrases from that poem, The Hill We Climb, were just so incredibly powerful. I still get kind of goosebumps, where she talked about where can we find light in this never-ending shade, braving the belly of the beast, illustrating just is versus justice, saying that we're not broken, we're just unfinished. Not focusing on what stood between us, but what stands before us, and raising this kind of wounded world into a wondrous one. And, as she was closing out the reading of that inaugural poem, she talked about stepping out of the shade to see the light if we're brave enough to see it. And this kind of got me thinking about Plato's allegory of the cave, and that had come to mind several times throughout, again, that long pause of 2020. But this theme of reconciliation and recovery from Gorman's inaugural poem was so powerful and moving. It moved me to act on a local level to bring this Poet Laureate program to Oshkosh. I knew that there had been a poetry contest that the Convention and Visitors Bureau had done. I think it was with youth the year before. And I knew that there had been a series of writing groups and writing conferences at the library. And I had hoped that the spoken written word could move us boldly and humbly into this place of healing and hope through appointing an ambassador for poetry in Oshkosh. So this Poet Laureate program is for the citizens, and I'm very appreciative to the Common Council for so graciously permitting it, as well as our partners, the library and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, because this is giving voice to our community and elevating literacy. This art in this other dimension, it being delivered through spoken and written word, I think can be a powerful asset for the future of this city and add depth to our local art scene, add opportunities to hear other voices, both real and imagined, for a future that both young and old can be part of. And, we did this press release when we announced the Poet Laureate program to let folks know that the Oshkosh Poet Laureate project serves as that leading voice for poetry in the Oshkosh community, promoting it through publication, performance, education, workshops, digital, social media. And the goal is just to highlight the importance of literacy and share those values that spark creativity and foster artistic expression. And I love the phrase that somebody came up with in that press release about carrying that poetry carries us to the frontiers of our imaginations and helps us articulate this shared vision of the future, weaving old and new cultures together, resulting in this resilient community tapestry. I'm not going to take up too much time here. I just have one final thing that I wanted to share tonight, and that's just a passage from one of my favorite poets, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a Colombian writer. This comes from Love in the Time of Cholera. He says, he allowed himself to be swayed by his conviction that human beings are not born once and for all on the day their mothers give birth to them, but that life obliges them over and over again to give birth to themselves.